Hi, I'm Sean Board, native of Gastonia, North Carolina. Played for the mighty Green Waves at Ashbrook. Went on to play at the University of North Carolina. Drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. Moved around a little bit. Atlanta Falcons and Green Bay. And I'm rocking with Grandosiá TV.
Here today, my man, Sean Boy. How you doing today?
Doing great.
In the intro, man, we heard you say that you played on all three levels of this football thing, from the Green Waves of Ashbrook, Carolina Tar Heels, and you made it to the NFL jump. So with that being said, we have to discuss that. But first thing first, for all my viewers out here for Grandosiá TV, make sure you subscribe, like, comment down below here on YouTube. So every time we go live with a new show, you can follow along with us. Now, one thing I want to talk to you about today, Sean, man, you said you played for Ashbrook. You got recruited by Carolina and Mack Brown. We see Mack Brown is back at Carolina again. Tell me a little bit about your process, man, of what did it take for you to get recruited back in 91?
Back in 91, let me first start off with the foundation, was definitely grades. I wasn't one of the kids that stayed in trouble or anything else. I was pretty much into my books anyway. And people don't understand that I also had an academic scholarship to Carolina as well as athletics. So I won't put that out there.
So but smart too, which ain't all ball.
Yeah, smart as well. Definitely. But the process of getting recruited and everything else, funny story about that, had a guy I played with, Tyrone Smith, Big Chug. He was a mutant in high school, grown man in high school. Gotcha. And the coaches actually came to watch him and saw me, and that's how I segued into getting recruited by Carolina.
So you took advantage of the opportunity of somebody else getting recruited, and so you took advantage of that. So when they came and saw him, he said, I'm going to put on a show as well.
Definitely. And anytime you're out there in the game, you got to play, go balls out, man. I mean, leave it out on the field, and everybody else can see what you're doing, and they appreciate it. So I wasn't even out there for looking to get recruited or anything else. This like 10th grade. When they moved me up from JV to varsity. So that was a good opportunity for me as well. So I had a whole lot of film that they could look at and everything else. So they go back and research it.
Gotcha.
But like today's game done changed a whole lot. You got kids going one way and everything else. Back then, you never left the field. Right. I mean, you out there the entire game. So, I mean, as far as recruiting and all that goes, I think that big aspect of it, because you might have a running back that could be the number one DB in the nation, but he never gets a chance. Right. Never gets a chance.
Now, what you saying is different. What you saying is being different from 91 to now. What's some of the biggest difference besides not coming off the field? You're a one-way player. What are some of the biggest things? I think football really, when you played, was football. Yeah. Now it's more of business. So what's the difference of high school sports coming out? Or what's some of the advantages these kids have, too, that you didn't have when you was playing?
I'd say that the biggest difference is, with the concussions and all that. So you have to see what you're hitting, everything else. Back then, I mean, you get laid out. You got your bell rung. That's what they call it. You got your bell rung, pneumonia. Get your pneumonia on your nose, get back up, shake it off. You back out that next play. Now they got all these protocols and everything else. Basically, if I played like I played then in today's game, I would never get to play because I'd be kicked out of the game for pretty much the season. Right.
Now, what do you, and I know when we start talking about your college days, we're going to get into that, but I know with high school, it still plays a part. Is it always targeting, or is it just a good football play, but the referee got to throw the flag anyways?
The referee has to throw the flag now. Well, with the work I do now, I get more in depth with all of that stuff. But I mean, the ref had to throw the flag now because you putting another kid in a bad position. But let me go on to say that you're also putting the guy that's trying to make the hit in a bad position, because you're asking the guy that's running full speed from 10 yards deep, coming up to make a hit. and the running back has 400 different ways he can go.
Right.
But I got to be prepared to put my head up, slow down, gather my composure, stop all my momentum
Right.
to make a hit when and most of the time you see it, there's a lot of missed tackles in football now. There's a lot of missed tackles, and I'm thinking that's the reason.
And I get that the NFL, the college league, and the high school league, you want to sell tickets. Defense don't win championships no more. It's all about the offense. But I just think you put a defensive person, you play safety in college, right?
Yes.
So I feel like you put the defensive person's job or their chance of making the NFL at risk, because if you watch Oklahoma, ain't nobody playing no defense out there.
Right.
Everybody missing tackles. So I just think with that rule, and you can, tell me more if I'm wrong, I just think jobs are being, I think people may not get recruited because you're looking at the tape like, he can't tackle. But he really can, though, but because of the rule, it just hurting us.
Right. You got, you got different types of safety. You got the John Lynch type of safety that come up and knock you out.
Sure.
And you got, say a Woodson. When he made the transition to safety, he would come up and hit you, but he would more gather his composure and everything else. He was smart about it and everything else. And that's why they played that long. You see John Lynch didn't play as long as those other guys did. With the impacts that safeties make, reference back to the movie Concussion and everything else. That's like a car going 50 miles an hour, repeatedly making hits and everything else. I mean, I remember games when I'm coming through 2-3 plays later. Actually, I don't even know what I did, but I guess I was out there. But yeah.
It don't take you don't remember.
Right.
Gotcha. I moving segue to, but still the recruitment process. What was like when you went on your college visit to Carolina? What was that like for kids who never get to experience that moment? Because everybody don't get to get recruited. Everybody don't get to go and be pampered at the school. What was that moment like, though?
That's a whole different kind of experience for me being from Barkley Street. I mean, that's low resources, everything else. So leaving here, and actually I got to talk about Tyrone again. He has his aunt Evelyn Bradley was going to Carolina.
Okay.
So from 10th grade on, I was already going to Carolina with Tyrone on weekends and stuff. Going up there. So the coaches that was recruiting couldn't actually deal with me then, but we would go by the football office. They'd know I was there. So that process was easy. Just going to the college experience and everything else, staying overnight, seeing how it's done and everything else. We actually got to go to some classes and everything else. So we was getting that young and everything else. So when I got to my senior year, going through the process and going on official visits and everything else, the coaches wasn't really worried about me in Carolina. Well, we already got him. We're going to let him recruit some of the other guys that's here. So I talked to a lot of guys that was there on recruiting visits as well. But just them showing you the whole college situation, the fellowship with the guys on the team and seeing how tight it was, like a family. Never let anything happen to you. They take care of you. NCAA rules, they take care of us as far as that goes. We'll
talk about that too now. NCAA is a little different. We're gonna talk about the NCAA in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different kind of experience that you would want to be a part of. You wouldn't want to miss that out. I mean, I love Gastonia and everything else. I love the friends I had and everything else. But that jump to that kind of atmosphere showed me that I wanted better. So it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to come home and visit. I wanted to stay there.
Gotcha, okay. I understand that. So as we transition and we make the college jump, we in college now. We got the Carolina logo on you. At that time, it probably wasn't Jordan. At the time, probably was Nike or Reebok or somebody. You got that on you. Did anything change though? Did the coaching go from being this happy-go-lucky person that you met as a recruit to now you on the team? He just yelling at you, or was everything still smooth for you?
Oh man, total change. I was fortunate enough for Bruce Johnson, great coach. Actually, I think 90% of the guys that he coached went on to play in the NFL, defensive back. But I was lucky enough to have him be my recruiting coach. So he came down here for recruiting everything else. He was like, we trying to change this thing around. They came off 1 of 10 seasons previously. Then I think they went 7-2 or some kind of crazy record. Wasn't winning. They were like, we trying to change the way Carolina is, and you're gonna be a part of that. We need you down here. Boom. So he sold me on that, and I went. But the first day, well, let me put you in the situation. When football goes to school, everybody else is at home.
True.
Classes don't start to another 3 weeks and everything else. So we up there on our own. We can't stay in the dorms. They got us in hotel rooms, and we're doing tour days. So the first day we got out there, it was me, Wendell Camp guy from Forest City, Eric Thomas, Richmond County guy, Darcel Hextall, guy from New York. We were only DBs there because the freshmen come in before everybody else as well. So it was just the freshmen up there.
So like rookie league
right. Coach Johnson, the nicest guy in the world, everything. To me, first day we get out there, we DBs. Okay, guys, let's get out here. Let me see the back pedal. Everybody did their back pedal. We pretty much highly recruited. We think, we that stuff. We the stuff. I got cussed out for the next 5 years. Put it that way. It was never anything done right. An interception, anything you did. Okay, you should have did this. Let's go back and rewind this. What could you have done better?
Right.
And I'm like, Coach, it's interception.
Right, I got it already.
No, look at this false step. He was always improving on anything that you did. Whenever you thought you was too high, too big for your britches, he'll bring you back down. That's what I loved about him.
Okay.
I actually try to emulate that kind of thing now with the coaching and everything that I do.
So with being in Carolina, and you going through this right here, and when you came back home, and you come from the low resources that you come from, did anybody change on you? Did anybody say, do you think he's too good? Or did anybody start saying, we want to be your friend now? They think you may go to the league. They think you may do something because you went Carolina. So did the change up come from anybody?
Well, much. I was pretty much a get along with anybody type of guy. The only time I had problems with somebody from Hustlers when we played them that Friday.
Okay.
South Point, East Mid, well, not South Point. South Point bought the barrel when I was there. Right. I ain't gonna talk about that. Well, I didn't really have that many enemies and everything. When you think you're a football star and everything else, everybody would come towards you.
Gotcha.
They gravitate towards you and everything else. So I didn't really see the hate, but you would hear this and that from somebody else. But I don't deal with that part of it, so I never talked to him, I never saw him. So
Gotcha.
it was all in the and out the other one.
Gotcha. So what kind of, once again, coming from that type of, okay, question. How many people before you and your family went to college or played football in college?
0. And let me tell you the story. I'm actually the youngest of 5 boys.
Okay.
And all 4 of those guys were better athletes than I was.
So what helped you be better than them to get the scholarship then?
Well, as far as family goes, you got some hard heads. You got some. Everybody take on different personalities as we grew up. Everything. All of us came through Pop Warner. All of us played Pop Warner. Everything.
Right,
Stars. I mean, pretty good on the team. Names on the team and everything else. But from Pop Warner, I think all the brothers stopped at Pop Warner, except for me and my brother Johnny. He played with me while we was at Howland. We were the Boyd brothers. We had no business. But then he, I guess, started feeling little girls. I guess. Hey,
he gets you every time.
Yeah, he pulled away. But like I said, those guys actually better athletes than me. I had 2 brothers that can stand at the top of Barkley Street and throw it all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, man.
Yeah, on the money. Give a shout out to Rodney and Kevin. Those guys, but I had uncles, had good athlete uncles, Gary Boyd at Clover, running back. The family been full of good athletes and everything else, but nobody, I guess, took the time. But now that's changed too as well in the family.
Yeah, I know a lot of other boys that kind of, made it to Carolina, or some was trying to go to the NFL, stuff like that. But what kind of support system did you have to keep you going? Because obviously you had to learn from the wrongs they was doing since you was the youngest. So what type of support was there to help you get to Carolina? Not only get to Carolina, because I know it had to be days while you was there you wanted to come home and quit.
Nah, never.
Well,
Oh, well, like as far as support went, I had my dad was a military guy, so
I get that.
he stayed wherever. I actually went to stay with him during the summers. And I stayed with my mom during uh, school, so we would travel whatever army base he was on. We'd go stay with them, and that's a whole nother story. But as far as support went, when I go my visits, my uncle Puddin, George Gaines, he actually was the father figure that went on the official visits with me,
Okay.
and he is definitely the he's ABC, anybody but Carolina. When we went on the visit, by the time we left there, I think he had a Carolina hat on and shaking hands and told back, yeah, I'm gonna give you 4 years with him.
Okay.
But then I'm going back to ABC.
Gotcha.
But that's the kind of support my brothers. I mean, as far as the streets and everything else, I knew better. My mom was big on discipline, so I could watch them get in trouble and see what happened to them, and no, I didn't want a part of that.
Going down that road.
Yeah.
Don't miss that road at all.
Yeah, but I mean, that my biggest support was my mom. She made sure. I mean, she worked hard. She didn't get to come to a lot of games because she had to work, But she was proud of me. She let me know she heard about this, and everybody else called and letting her know everything going on. And the community. I mean, growing up back then, you get whooped by your next door neighbors, a woman down the street, and everybody else. So
That's true.
it was more like what my mama didn't get to. The community moms. I mean, if I see them up in the stands, I still feel like I got a part of me and home there with me and everything like that.
Gotcha. So with you playing for Mac Brown back in 91 through 95? 96. He was here. He turned the program around. He left and went to Texas. Coach Vince Young and them in the national championship. He's back. Now, for everybody like myself who grew up Carolina, even though I didn't see Jordan play at Carolina, but we always tell people that's why we became Carolina fans. But what is Matt gonna do different this time around? He had a good season last year. I think they did make the top 10 rankings.
Yes.
But in your opinion, what he's gonna bring back to this area different? Are we gonna recruit the Carolinas hard? Is everybody between Charlotte? Because I know Charlotte got a lot of athletes. Yeah. Gastonia is coming back up. So is he gonna recruit this area? Like, what is he doing for the Carolinas? Like, what is he gonna do?
Mac Brown has a certain kind of philosophy where he is definitely going to stay in North Carolina. We can win with just the guys in North Carolina. And he goes out and grabs 5 stars from other states. But if he has someone in the North Carolina area that is looking like they can be a parallel to somebody that's out of state, he's going with the North Carolina guy.
Okay.
He's a real loyal to North Carolina, and Mac's situation back then with a lot of why he left and everything else. I mean, it's Texas. I mean,
right? Yeah,
it's
Texas.
It's a whole different thing. So I never felt any kind of way about him leaving Carolina to go to Texas because everybody wants to progress. And whatever profession you're in, you don't want to be the dishwasher the whole time at the restaurant. So Mac is the kind of guy who makes everyone feel home. You have to love Mac. Just meeting him one time, I don't care. Like I said, my uncle was the biggest ABC guy in the world, but a little bit of time with Mac, he brings you in, he makes you buy into whatever he's trying to sell. I mean, basically, we when I got recruited, Carolina was not too good in the ACC.
It was basketball.
Right, basketball school, all that. But while I was there, and once we bought into what he was telling us, and we did the necessary things that he wanted us to do and everything else, we saw that we could win. Okay, we can do this. So we have a Carolina's basketball school. No, as far as North Carolina goes, we're a football school now. We never got beat by anybody in the state of North Carolina while I was there. I mean, we handled business there. He instilled in us that we could definitely be a part of the big scene, the national championship scene, all of that. As far as basketball was doing it already, so let's get up to this level, and I think we did pretty good trying to get there.
I'm gonna see what Mac Brown gonna do. I'm very interested to see. He has some good things. I can say good things going. I heard he got a pretty good recruiting class coming in. I will say, from what I noticed, because I think it was the years I was in high school, I think it was the lost years that people wasn't hitting the weight room as hard. People wasn't going to personal trainers as much. Now I see kids going personal trainers at the age of 5.
Right.
Working on their craft. They saying they want to stay inside the state. So hopefully Mac Brown can really pick some people up. And I don't know how long he's gonna be there, but as time progress, kids really get better. But back on you, senior year come last year. Did you know you was going to the NFL, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I had a pretty good idea. I think that my work on the field provided me that.
Gotcha.
Actually, my junior year started getting a little bit of recognition, everything else, making preseason, all ACCs and stuff like that. They come with a lot of the banter and everybody else. Hey, man, you going? Yeah. And with my coach, like I said, Bruce Johnson, 90% of the guys that he coached went to the league. So I'm just watching. Whenever you're a senior,
right,
you're getting drafted. You're going somewhere. Jimmy Hitchcock, Bracy Walker, even Rondell Jones played with Steve Atwater. That old. I'm that old. So it was just wait your turn. And that's how we carried ourselves in the locker room with the other guy. Hey man, we going to the league.
Right.
Why y'all need to step up, y'all need to do this and everything else. So we had that kind of attitude. The Rude Boys. It's a whole different kind of attitude that we had, we wasn't taking no junk. We gonna talk to junk. We ain't gonna let nobody do nothing to us. We go out in the field, handle your business, play good, you look good. It was just a whole different kind of attitude with football. And you had to have that nasty attitude to be out there on that field with that. And the agents come around,
what's that process?
the shady, you got the shady and you got the up and up, but Mac did pretty good with keeping the vultures away. You had to be approved through the football office before you could talk to any of us.
Okay.
So any agent that came up and gave us a card or anything else, and we took it to Mac, this guy trying to talk to me, he'd go through and see if they was approved or anything else, because they had to go through all kind of rules, and it couldn't be some guy from the corner store coming there trying, hey, I want to be your agent. None of that happened, so he kept us away from all that kind of stuff. Even if your family members was trying to be agent and everything else, okay, this is the process that y'all got to do to be able to be an agent for any of our guys. So he kept a lot of that away. Some snuck in between the cracks and everything else. We had established guys that went through all of the approval and everything else that turned out to be snakes.
Any horror stories?
Yeah, the guy I signed with first, I think he did 10 years. He stole money from everybody. Everybody he signed. Took money from them, had fake businesses, putting our signing bonus and money into fake businesses that he opened. Ended up being P.O. boxes. But it's a whole business, and I invested this much into this, I invested this much in that, and all that was going in his pocket. He ended up getting caught, did a lot of time. He did a lot of time. Yeah. But we still didn't get our money back.
That's the messed up part right there. We had to go find that guy. Right. But what's one thing that you could tell, young kids, man, they dreams is to make the NFL. Like I said, we went from high school with you, went from college, and we got to, talk about the NFL. But what's like one of those things you could tell young people, everybody want to make the NFL. Everybody want to make the NFL. All this money. But you just told me your signing bonus got taken advantage of by a shady agent. Right. Like, what's something else to be aware of? Go through this right here. Or she just had a love for the game, or she worry about the money? Going
through the process, you got to know that, like you said, it's a different transition from high school to college to pros. You got to look at it from between the college going into the pros and everything else. You got to change your mindset that this is a business, this is a job. You have to stop doing a lot of things that you used to do. It's your 9 to 5. You're getting up at rookie's getting up probably 7 o'clock going to hit the weight room way before the other guys get there and everything else, just because of where you're at. in the line. So you got to start getting your body. You got to do different things with your body and everything else, the party and all that stuff. Cause I was a partier, definitely a partier and everything else.
Good parts of Carolina.
Oh yeah, but once you get into it and everything else, you got to know I got to pull back from this. I got to pull back from that. I mean, girls, that's a whole different side of it. Everybody coming at you and everything else. So not only do you have to worry about the shady agents, you got the girls, then you have just the snakes that want to pull you down. They'll put you in a different predicament than you rather be in. Right. Put you somewhere, hotel, get you set up. Dudes, girls at the club, bring you to a hotel, leaving the door open, all that stuff. I mean, you got to get prepared for all that. And you got a mind switch because college is a party, everything else. But you start really watching your back and everything else. College, you got somebody that can watch your back. NFL, you're on your own most of the time. So you got to surround yourself with good people, basically.
Gotcha. So as we make this jump, what was the now, did you go to the draft, or was it more you had a draft party at home, or was the draft as big as it is now then in 96? Well, 96 it was pretty big still.
Yeah. Actually, went over to the hotels on Cox Road. I forgot which one it was. Mm-hmm. But got the banquet room, had a draft party here. And you know everybody, I'm first round. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen. Ended up going fifth round. That's the second day. But I still kept the party going. Hey, everybody show up tomorrow. But I kind of got down on myself after the first day because I should be. But the way it worked out, I ended up going to second. I actually left the party and went home. Sat there and watched the draft at home by myself with my brother Rodney. This is a funny story.
How you gonna leave the party?
Because I was down on myself, boom. Hey man, I might not get drafted. So I had to put that in perspective. But I went home and I sat there and my brother Rodney was there with me. And he sat there with a Minnesota Vikings hat on. He handed it to me. He said, "This is where you gonna go." I'm sitting there, man, just talking about, I'm down, mad. Man, go ahead with all that. Next thing I know, I'm getting a call from Dennis Green.
Okay.
I looked at him. I said, "Boy, I told you. That's Minnesota, ain't it?" Like, yeah. So that was a good story with that.
That was Randy Moss at that time?
No, I was before Randy. I'm there with Warren Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old school. Jake Reed, Chris Carter, Orlando Thomas, the late great. But back happy, went back over to the party. Congratulating everybody, and I mean, once you get the call, he let you know, hey, you got about 2 hours. We got a plane ticket waiting on you.
Oh, you got to leave in 2 hours?
Yes. So it's definitely, as soon as it happened, you get on the plane, you go there, they have all the news and everything else waiting when you're getting off of the plane because you and the other guys getting there at the same time. Do your little press conference, then they take you in there. And, I mean, it's different now. They might just hand you your iPad now, but back then, get your book about that thick.
All right.
Okay, we need you to get into trying to learn some of this.
So first day, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
All right, so when you get off the plane, you do your interview, you go to, I guess, a hotel they give you.
Yeah.
So what's next? Like, what's the NFL life like? Like, when you got now, question with the NFL life. Was it a disappointment when you first got into it? Or is it like, man, this is everything I hope for and wish all my life? Or is it like, this is it?
Oh, man, yeah, it's a great feeling. Once you know you've accomplished, you met the goals that you've accomplished. Most kids dream about it. Like you said, that's the biggest dream that you can have. Mm-hmm. I finally fulfilled it. Boom. I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to get started, everything else. Like you said, you leave, get off the plane, do the press conference, everything else. You go to the room. You might do a little bit of crying. You start soul searching, figure out, hey, man, which girl do I love? You go through a whole lot of changes. You try to figure out, it's my life about to start now. This is where I want to be, and I want to get everything situated. So you sit in a hotel room, you might call your mom, call a couple of people, tell, hey, man, I'm up here, they got me in a hotel. The hotel nice. You ain't never seen no hotel room like this, you really excited. And then they send, they got people who take care of you, the teams do. So you have somebody come out there and be like, do you want to go start looking for a place to live? Do you need rental cars? We want to set you up. We got this place here for you to go eat. So basically, and the NFL, I'm going to let you know that most teams, these big contracts and everything else, the owners getting their money right back because they probably own the car dealerships that you get your car from. They own the developments where you're going to move into. Okay, yeah, we got these nice houses down here. We'll give you this kind of deal on them. You're still paying $1 million for that house. So, you know what I mean? It ain't really a deal. And the man that just paid you $4 million for that year, getting $1 million right back. So
who's paying for the rental cars? Are you paying for the rental cars or the team paying for the rental cars?
well, you paying for them. Basically, put it this way. You paying for them, but it's in the team's name. So think about those tax write-offs too. So you have a point man when you get in the NFL that take care of everything. You call, hey man, I need this, I need that, I need a plane ticket here, I need to get there. Make sure I got a hotel room, make sure I got a rental car when I get there and all that stuff. So you got somebody that's making a phone call, doing everything. And it's going on their card and everything else. But when you get your check at the end of the week, you'll see the deductions on it.
I mean, that's the information people need to know. That stuff that, you know, you don't talk to somebody who's been through it, you would never know. You just thinking on TV, man, they got them a BMW. That's nice of the team to do that for them. But I know that came out your check.
Right.
And I bet that's a big surprise for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you get that check, you know, okay, because you know, if you come from nothing, you gonna check. Yeah, let me see what's going on with this part of it. Wait a minute, they took this out. And fines. I mean, believe it or not, you probably getting this $1,000 a minute fine. So, funny story, Minnesota. I'm from down south, but we don't do snow. If it rained too hard, we shut down everything. So I'm in Minnesota. It snowed like 3 feet that night. So I wake up, look out, and the snow near the window. Oh boy, got a day off and everything else. So I say, man, I need to call. Make sure to see what we do on snow days. Right. So I called, talked to the strength coach, like, yeah, man, you know, it's snow and everything else. So how do we make these days up anything? He's like, Sean, you got 10 minutes to get here. Everybody else here. 10 minutes? Man, there's 3 feet of snow out there and everything else. I say, yeah, we get this a lot from y'all down south, boys. You got 10 minutes. The clock running. So I live probably 15 minutes away. Ooh. So I'm rushing, get my stuff, boom, try to hurry up and get there. Come out the garage. The roads are spotless. Great. Man, ain't no slick spots or nothing. You know, I'm riding like, all right, they take care of the streets up here and everything else. So finally get to everything else, probably 10 minutes late. Go in, everything just normal, boom. Get in, catch up with everybody else. Go through the day and everything else. Then you get a little voucher in your locker. 10 minutes. That's all I say. Don't say how much that 10 minutes mean and everything else. Then you're like, what? Ask the boy what the voucher mean. Oh, yeah, that's a G every minute. A G? So they took 10 minutes. And also that you can choose, when you get there and everything else, you choose a foundation that you want to support and everything else. So when you do get fined, all that money go towards that. Okay. So if the smart people make a Sean Board Foundation. So I want to give to the Sean Board Foundation, do a lot of good stuff and back in Gastonia, and I need that money to go there. And most of the time you go ahead and follow through with it, but if you don't, you still got your money back. Yeah, okay. And the tax write-off. Okay.
Yeah, that's smart. I never looked at it that way. That's one of those things. That's a smart idea if you do get fined. So everybody that's watching, if you make it to the league, that's good information to know about that. So when you playing for Minnesota, you play. How many years did you play there?
I got a year in before I left.
And what made you leave? Or what happened with the circumstances?
Well, I was practice squad guy at Minnesota and everything else. Atlanta was talking about putting me on the field to play. So I want to be on the field and everything else. And plus Minnesota had 40 guys starting in Minnesota was a year above me. Dwayne Washington, Orlando Thomas, who led the league in interceptions that year. All these guys young, like me, and everything else. So, boom, I'll just be, I'm sitting here playing the waiting game, special teams type of thing. Atlanta had some older guys. Atlanta was like the oldest team in the league then. Okay. So, I'm like, yeah, I can come out, go to Atlanta, and get some run. And I got the field in Atlanta.
Okay. Now, did you want to leave Atlanta? Or you say something about you went to Green Bay eventually? Did you want to leave Atlanta? Or
no. Atlanta was the Mecca, you know. Hey, it wasn't a wasted minute in Atlanta, put it that way. Something to do at any time, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Closer to home, Minnesota is way up, cold. Everything else, Atlanta is more my temperature at home. Get on the road, be there. I go home, see my mom, and then come back to Atlanta, you know, same day. So that was a big part of it. And Atlanta had a different vibe than Minnesota. Now, don't get me wrong, Minnesota is a nice place. It's nice. It's just cold. It's just cold.
Can't do that cold.
Right. In Atlanta, I felt like I was Atlanta with a lot more people I played with and everything else that I knew, college-wise and everything else. So it was a better fit for me to actually get a grasp. That's what I'm talking about, getting a grasp of what is NFL. You know what I mean? Sean, you need to stop doing this. You know, I had guys there. We had Cornelius Bennett, Nate Odom. Oh, guys, I was in, junior high, watching them play for Buffalo. You know what I mean? Right. Those guys and those older guys like that, they more settled everything else. Hey, look, come here, young boy. Let me tell you this. Sat down for a second, and they invited us to their houses and everything else. And just the talks that they had would slow you down a whole lot. Amen.
Now, what's some of the do's and don'ts of the NFL, especially when it comes to money or just in general? What's some of the do's and don'ts that you would tell people? Even though you made it and you part of this brotherhood, but what's some do's and don'ts? You know, some people want to go out and buy Bentleys on their first check.
Right. I mean, from experience, don't claim all your new cousins that come into town. You know, it's going to be a whole lot of people come in. I think when I got my first check and everything else, I tried to look out for my family the best I could.
How much that check was?
It had, you know, it was a nice size.
Biggest check you ever seen in your life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for till the next one came. No, I'm kidding. Then, you know, you just stay away from. I mean, everybody come in with a big business venture. Hey, let's do this. Hey, man, let's do laundromats. Let's put a laundromat over here and over there. You don't know better. You ain't, and most of the time you so pighead and everything else. Mm-hmm. Since you ain't never had none, you don't know the process of getting an attorney and accountant and somebody. You gotta have somebody watching both sides of the money and everything else. So you're just making decisions based on, okay, how much I'm gonna get out of it.
Right.
Okay, is it gonna be mine? And then, okay, so you working that out with Peanut down the street. So he don't know nothing. He ain't been in no business. Ain't been to school or anything. So, you know, you making shady deals and everything else. So a lot of that happens. And a lot of times it's your family members, basically. So you know, you gotta learn how to say no and everything. Say no. I mean, if it definitely ain't gonna sound good coming from Peanut, right. You know, so just have some wits about you. And I can say that as at the age I am now. Back then, or wild willy-nilly, all right, man, here, man, just go ahead. Because you think you're getting the next check always coming. So I'm not losing nothing. If I make some money out of that, it's okay, but I'll still go have this over here.
Do a lot of NFL players, do a lot of them live check to check?
Yeah, I mean, in NFL, it's the way you get paid, actually. You can get yours during the season, or you get it spread out through the year. So you only work, put it away, NFL is 6 months. You work 6 months. So you make that amount of money in 6 months. If you got $4 million contract, you make $4 million in 6 months. Or you can spread it out through the year. So wherever you're at and everything else, the checks still keep coming into the bank. That's a better way to do it. You don't need a $20,000 check every Monday. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You don't need to do it like that. But a lot of guys do it. I want to see my money. I want to pay for play. That's what they call it, pay for play. Man, I played. They're going to give me my money for that. I want to see it. Right. But then you go into your investments, basically, not investments, but your needs, your house, everything else. I had a guy, Ronnie Bradford, smartest guy I ever knew and everything else. Married guy. I think he had 2 kids, everything else. But he was in Atlanta with me and everything else. And, you know, he like, come through. Let's play some Madden. Come through. All right, I'm come through. So I went by his house and everything else. He had like a little 1-bedroom apartment and had a bed in the living room. He was like, man, go ahead, come on, let's play. And he sat there in the bed. I'm like, what? Man, I ain't sitting in the bed with you. I'm a grown man. Right. Two men ain't got no business sitting in the same bed. Like, man, where your furniture at and all this? I said, this is my furniture. What you mean? I'm like, man, you ain't got nothing in the room back there, man? Nah. So all I need is a bed. I said, what you mean? I said, man, I'm here to work, man. All I need is sleep. Look, I sleep, I eat at the field house. Get my car out there. That's all I need. I said, why you do that? He said, man, because I got a wife that like finding things in life. She got a nice house. My kids got nice bedrooms. All that. I'm paying for that right now. I don't need to come up here and get another bill with a big house and everything else. So instead of him trying to live the NFL, you know, I'm in the line, let me go get me a big crib and everything else. He just got a little one-bedroom apartment, chilling with a bed, and the wife living good. Like he said, man, that's all I'm here. I'm doing this to take care of them.
Gotcha.
I don't need to be.
So in the off season, he go back to the big house.
Right.
Gotcha.
Go back to the big house, live his life, come back to the one-bedroom park.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if you gonna budget yourself and have financial literacy about yourself, I mean, that makes sense. Why spend more money than you have to?
Right.
And I just think that's the one thing that these kids just gotta, you know, when I say kids, I'm talking about from youth, middle school, high school, college. You just gotta know. I think people go in, like you said earlier, with these grand ideas and dreams that you're gonna do this, that, and the third, and it don't pan that way. And you can be, I mean, I've seen it happen before. You can be a first, second, third round draft pick that fade out. And I always tell people too, you know, when y'all playing football, y'all go to different states. Do they tax y'all differently?
No, you gotta have your accountant with somebody watching them. Like different states that don't have tax and everything else. You don't have to worry about them. But every state sends you a tax form for working in their state. So at the end of the year, you might have 12, 13 different tax forms that came to your they come to the office and they put them in your locker. Okay. Everything else, you better make sure you take care of that. Because if you don't, those fines gonna build up and everything else. And I mean, you can't play catch up with Uncle Sam, man.
No, that's one person. When you owe him some money, he gonna get it one way or another. But before we let you go, I saw you the other day on social media. You was at some Pop Warner games. So do you often get back to go, you know, talk to the kids or go see, you know, the youth? Or do you see anybody that's coming up through the Pop Warner League that you say one day he may be a problem?
I got a million of those. Well, right now what I'm doing is I'm with the Youth Shrine Bowl. I know everybody knows the Big Shrine Bowl, and this is off branch of that. It's where we go get the best players in North Carolina and play against South Carolina. Okay. But, you know, with the concussions and all that stuff that's going on, a lot of the mamas, they went to, my baby ain't playing football. My baby ain't getting a concussion. He's getting hurt and everything else. So, and say the NBA, as far as AAU, the NBA runs that. The NFL wants to get in the part where they're getting names of younger kids and everything else. So we provide that part of it. It's for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Okay. So that's a big part of it. We got to get the younger guys still interested in football. A lot of places in North Carolina actually doesn't have that middle. Once you finish Pop Warner, you have to sit out and wait until your high school. Oh, so it's a void in that area too. So we trying to fill that spot up in a lot of the areas. But it's the best players in North Carolina, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Go out. It's probably one of the best amateur young events that you can go to, because we treat it like a actually a bowl experience. Okay. It's not anything. We don't go out. It's not we're taking this kid from your team, your AAU team, anything else. We just getting them for 3 days right near Christmas time and having a game.
Oh, that's what's up right there. But where can before we, and another thing too, while we about to wrap it up, where can we find you at on social media? Where can people find you? If they have any questions for you to learn more about the Shrine Bowl for the youth, where can we find you at?
You know what, man? I'm old school. I probably still got a MySpace account, man. I'm on Facebook. That's my only place as far as my social media goes. I need to do better, but That's technology, man. I don't want to get into all that, and I don't want to see all the stuff I see
Gotcha.
on everybody else's stuff because that ain't me either. Uh, but just look me up on Facebook. I mean,
What's your name on Facebook?
Sean Boy.
Sean Boy. I got you. Sean Boy, that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we definitely got to have you back on Grandosiá TV, man. It's been real rocking with you, learning and giving us insight on your journey to the NFL, what it's like when you get there. So we do appreciate you, man. To all the people that's watching today, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, so you'll stay up to date on everything we do.